Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number BB1816 4x4 2D brass dichromate square by 5/8 radius full mortise residential weight ball bearing steel based standard removable pin hinge. That's a mouthful, but it's all important, and this is the hinge that matches everything I just said. This is a BB1816 hinge. 1816 is going to tell you that the hinge has this square corner by 5/8 radius. It's going to tell you that it has the hole locations in this specific vertical and horizontal pattern. Okay? It's going to tell you that it's a residential weight hinge, and Hager says that it's 85 thousandths thick. Let's test that. Caliper says it's 0.087. It's going to tell you that it's so it's residential weight, thinner than a standard weight hinge. It's full mortise. You can see from the swag on the hinge leaves there that when they're brought parallel, they're meant to be mortised flush to the edge of the door and frame so that you can achieve that small gap between the door and frame. It will also mean that it's 5 knuckle. 2, 3, 4, 5. The BB in the part number stands for ball bearing, and that it's a removable pin hinge. I could tap that pin out, tap the pin and pull it out. That's normal and common. Okay, a very common hinge that you're going to see installed on. Here's a perfect example: a metal-clad door that has steel edges with a wood frame. That door portion is going to be a square requirement for the hinge leaf. The frame portion, which is wood, is going to give you that 5/8 radius. 5/8 radius is accomplished by using an 1.25 inch diameter bit when the router is mortising the frame for the hinge leaves, and when the operator or door hanger or manufacturer doesn't go back specifically and square those corners, you're going to have a 5/8 radius, and it's done really just for volume. Faster production sort of scenario. The 4x4 is a reference to the size naturally. That means this hinge is 4 inch tall, and the height is the first dimension, and 4 inch wide. The width is the second dimension. Doesn't matter so much when you have a square hinge like this, but it does matter to know that the height is the first dimension when you're dealing with a 4.5 by 4, or perhaps a 3.5 by 6. You need to know this is dimension 1, that's dimension 2. The BB1816 also means that it's a steel-based hinge. The 2D means brass dichromate. It is a zinc coating that's on the steel that will give you kind of the look of a satin brass, but it's not satin brass technically at all, but it will look like that, but it will give you very good corrosion resistance, excellent corrosion resistance on this hinge. The ball bearing aspect is always a good idea. In my opinion, there's never a reason to consider a hinge that's not ball bearing, unless of course it's purely economic, because every door installation will benefit by having a ball bearing hinge, whether it is year 1 or it's year 25. You will notice a significantly greater life expectancy out of a ball bearing hinge. And I know that as a result of seeing doors, the more used doors, the more common doors at a home, the garage door, the back door, the door from the first floor to the basement, you will notice, it might take 20 years, but 20 years down the road, that door is going to tip out, it's going to hit at the top. And I've seen installations where there are ball bearing hinges, and that just doesn't happen. So unless it's purely economic, go with a ball bearing hinge. You will be thankful for that years down the road. Looking at the balance of the description, the hinge is sold as each. I'm looking at what I've not discussed already. It's obviously reversible. You're going to want to drive that pin out and put it on the other end. You don't want it at the bottom because it will over time work its way loose. There are screws that are included naturally. They're a number 9 by 3/4 inch in a complementary finish. and they're what's called fly cut. There's a feature to the end of the tip of the screw that you can see right here, where it has a chiseled out area so that when the factory is running the screw into the wood jamb or door, they are able to remove wood without cracking the style. So it's called a fly cut. You're cutting the threads on the fly, is what that's for. There is a link below this video to a document called Template, which is a catch-all document in terms of many different hinge types, part numbers from Hager. But you'll be able to see the BB1816, and more importantly, you'll be able to know ahead of time if these are being ordered for replacements, where the location for the screws are, okay, prior to getting them to realize, oh gosh, the holes are in the wrong locations. Review the template and compare it against existing. If it is a replacement prior to ordering it, just eliminate the guesswork, because there are different patterns of those holes for hinges that are possible. Obviously, this is going to be available in all of the common finishes in architecturally plated requirements: your brass, your bronze, your chromes, your nickels, satin and polished, oil rub bronze as well. The name Hager is synonymous with all things hinge related. Their name is Hager Hinge after all. However, they get into a significantly broad spectrum of commercial building products. There's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all the Hager products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website along with a link to the full product catalog. And if you were to look at that full product catalog, you will see it's far more than just hinges. Door closers, lock sets, exit devices, electrified hardware, weather stripping, trim and auxiliary, sliding door hardware, ancillary hardware like filler plates for use on steel doors and steel frames. They basically do everything but the steel door and steel frame itself, and I bet they're working on that as well. If you have any questions on the Hager BB1816 hinge or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.